Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and in today's video I wanted to share with you a build that I'm considering rolling, assuming it doesn't get nerfed, in 3.16 as my end game mapper. And you know, this is obviously nothing concrete and it's pretty insane gear, but I wanted to kind of highlight an interaction which is very cool, which has been brought to my attention. So I'm just going to introduce the build because I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot of it throughout the videos on the channel as we come up to the league and I test more and more stuff with it. So the build is a Corrupting Fever Gladiator Tornado Shot build. Big shout outs to Matinator, one of my friends. He lent me the gear for this. It was his build that he played in 3.15, and it is an absolute monster. I would definitely rate it way higher than you know, deck stacking and physical based tornado shot. It's not as good at some content as others, but right now on this character I'm about 85 and I'm missing a bunch of stuff, and basically, it's a tankier version of Tornado Shot with more consistent bossing potential, and you have much more opportunity to get defensive. But the thing that makes it particularly interesting is one of the interactions which it has available to it, and I wanted to highlight that here. So you'll notice that the actual Legion kind of exploding here is very effective, and that is due to the fact that Gladiator has basically an inbuilt pre-nerf explosion chest on it. Which is incredibly powerful, and we're going to go over a few things here with the Gladiator build, but we're mainly going to focus on that mechanic there and why it's just so powerful. You can see it's actually breaking my computer here. Just so powerful, rivaling even the old explodey chests in power. So let's get right into it. We'll jump in game and I'm going to explain why it's so strong. So the primary way that you deal damage with this character, just briefly, is using a skill called Corrupting Fever. So Corrupting Fever essentially adds a damage over time component to every single hit that you do, and it's a considerable damage over time element here. So you can see here that the damage on this character deals 131,000 physical damage per second for 1 second. So it's basically a 131k hit, guaranteed pretty much every time. And this can stack up to 10 times. And also, you know, there is the potential to shotgun an enemy multiple times and have them take multiple 131ks, you know, and that's pretty powerful. Now, the thing that's really strong about this ability is that the gratuitous violence explosions actually apply Corrupting Fever because they count as you hitting an enemy. The explosions are your explosions. And Corrupting Fever simply says whenever you hit an enemy, it applies a Corrupting Fever or Corrupted Blood charge, which deals the damage as we were talking about. So very powerful. Now, the interesting thing here is that the Corrupted Blood debuff here actually does count as a bleed, from what I understand. And the only condition for gratuitous violence to trigger when an enemy dies is that the enemy is bleeding. So you basically get this scenario in which you get a very similar effect to Impulse's Broken Heart, or, you know, the old Exploded Chest, where it chains all the way through enemies pretty much as long as they die from the Corrupting Blood charge. And you can see obviously that it does a lot of damage. It's essentially an explodey chest, which then shotguns surrounding monsters for about 100k, and that'll continually chain until it gets to a monster which doesn't die from 100k, which is incredibly powerful, and it really does allow for incredibly potent and strong kind of chaining abilities, making Gladiator Corrupting Blood one of the more powerful and satisfying mappers that you can kind of roll with. And the really cool thing about Glad, I'm going to spruik Glad a little bit here, you can see here I don't even have Uberlab yet, is that you also get a lot of the benefits of playing a clear speed character. So one of the really cool things about playing a Deadeye or a Raider is incredible movement speed. And you could see me moving around very fast in that video. I can assure you, even without the Headhunter, you move around very quickly. And that is due to Arena Challenger. So Arena Challenger is essentially a very similar mechanic to Tailwind, but it also stacks on top of Tailwind and multiplies it further. So one of the big downsides of going Deadeye is that you can actually just get its primary mechanic Tailwind on your boots. Similarly, you can get Elusive on your boots as well, which is Assassins, but Gladiators, Challenger charges you cannot get on your boots, and they do serve as a more multiplier on top of both Elusive and Tailwind, making it actually superior to Deadeye's Gathering Winds, hilariously, which is very funny. So Gladiator, in fact, just from that note alone, is, you know, faster when comparing it to Deadeyes, for example, their speed bonus. So Gladiator, very, very powerful choice. Now, when comparing it to Raider, it's a little bit more difficult to get into, but it's fair to say that Arena Challenger is absolutely insane. It's basically a 20% more, no questions asked, movement and attack speed multiplier. Very, very strong, and you can keep it up pretty much 100% of the time, unlike Gathering Winds from Deadeye, which does fall off fairly consistently. So Arena Challenger is completely crazy. And you also basically get an inbuilt explodey chest. And the cool thing about Corrupting Fever is that it is a physical damage over time, but it deals it so quickly, it deals it in 1 second, that it actually performs and behaves pretty much, for all intents and purposes, as a direct damage ability, with the exception of bosses, which it's okay at doing. It can do pretty much all bosses in the game with really good gear. It can't do 5 ways very well, but that's about where it ends. It's really good at Blight, it's really good at everything else. But overall, the Gladiator Ascendancy actually doesn't really sacrifice much at all. You have really, really good access to defense if you want to go down that path using a rear guard. You have Exploding Chest built in, as well as a ton of additional damage just all over the place. You can also get more damage if you want on your Uberlab, going outmatch and outlast. But overall, Gladiator is an absolute powerhouse for clearing even as a bow character. And combining that with Corrupting Fever, it's very, very strong. But the main interaction I wanted to highlight here is the explosions. They are very, very potent indeed. You know, overall, I think that mechanics like this are really what makes PoE fun, and I think highlighting a few more of them can get people more excited about the future prospects of clear speed. But the primary selling point of this, outside of the explosions, is the tankiness. That is the main objective here, getting just a little bit more tanky. This character's not reached its full potential yet, but it's pretty easy to say that you can easily get, 5 to 5.5k life, as well as, juicing up on a bit of block. And with the recent manifesto, that may be more relevant and important than ever. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. If you want to see more of this build and more of the testing that I'm doing, let me know. Give me a thumbs up and comment down below. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and maybe look into the Gladiator for a few builds of your own. Until next time, cheers.